I've been looking at these risers. They're just way too tall. You know, I was thinking about cutting them, but they've got this recessed boss in here, and the bolt goes way down at the bottom of this hole, so if I cut it, it'd be no good for nothing. And I believe it's aluminum, chromed aluminum, because it's not magnetic. Got a magnet here somewhere, but I test with a magnet. It's not magnetic. Can you see up there? Way up there. So that's supposed to fit over top of that, but that hole's too big anyways. Like it's, I don't know, maybe the guy gave me the wrong riser. It's way too high of a riser, I think, for me. I'm gonna want this thing to be a low bar. Although the tank is gonna be in here. Yeah, might hit the tank. Anyways, I got another set off of that FXR. If that's too tall, I'll have to see when I get the tank on there. And this is the set that was off the FXR. This is steel, this is heavy. Got a magnet here. Yeah, this is magnetic. A lot heavier than this one. But this one, and it's hollowed out on the inside, it doesn't have this recessed hole here in the bottom. This is probably 1.125 inches. That shaft up there is 1 inch. And this is an 1.4 inches. So if I had this machine down with an inch hole in there, which would be about like that, just recessed in maybe a 3/16, 1/4 inch maybe. Don't want it to be too far down because I've only got that much showing there right now. Phone rang. So yeah, so I think I've had this machine down 1/8 of an inch or 3/16, because when I put the tapered roller bearings in there, and when I get this fit properly, so you can see right now this bottom part's hanging down here a little bit, I hope. Yeah, right in here, yeah. And you can see the 45-degree angle right there, and then right here it's not squared off, so I'm going to grind that off today, get that to fit in a little bit better. But these are a much lower riser. This is what I think I'll go with, and just machine that out a little bit. Maybe these aluminum caps will work. A little bit too big, not too bad, because these caps have this thing screws on and covers up the bolts. Kind of neat. We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna start taking that front end off. Okay, here's the two issues that I think I can improve on a little bit. You can see where they got this beveled 45 here, and then it's straight cut and then beveled again. Well, this part here is what's rubbing on the frame right under here. It's hitting the frame, and you can see I've got that bearing. It's actually even out like 1 mil with the spacer in there. Can't go any farther that way. If I put more spacers in here, then the bearing is going to be hanging out, right? So the only other thing would be to do is to weld a perfect circle onto this, and then with a recessed area so the bearing can come down a little more. That'd be ideal. That'd be ideal. But I'm going to first try to bevel that, 45 that. That'll give me a little bit more wiggle room. And then the other thing is this shaft It's inset about 1/8 of an inch. You can see here. Tape measure. Three 3/16. Once you get into these things, can't go by that. Anyways, but it's not quite 1/4 of an inch. About little 3/16 here, a little bit more, and it doesn't go all the way in. See how it sits proud, about 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is machine that in. Peter's getting me a reamer tonight, and we're not sure how we're going to drive the reamer because it's all one piece, these forks. So we're going to have to weld an extension onto it or something, but we're going to get the reamer tonight and see what we got to do. Probably only needs 2 or 3 turns of the reamer to get that thing in 1/8 of an inch more. Might even go a little bit more, 3/16, and have this thing set in a little bit more. And then I can put a spacer on here. Yeah, so if this comes out a little bit more, yeah. So right now, there's just enough room for this. This is tapered right here. Starts the taper for the bearing. It's only 1/2 an inch. I can't put a spacer on here and then put the bearing on. The bearing will be flopping all over the place. Here's what I mean. Here's the original bearing. And see, it's loose on here, and then it goes to this tapered shaft here. So I can't put a 1/2 inch spacer in here and then have this bearing like that. My only choice is to pull this shaft out a little bit. 1/8 of an inch, 3/16. And that'll drop this down. And then if I bevel this, you know, that might gain me enough. I got a feeling it's not gonna, but that's gonna be my first attempt. See, whenever you do these little customizing and you change things from stock, it's all about figuring out the best way to do it with the least amount of intrusion on one piece or the other. Because I don't want to start butchering this piece up, it'll be no good for nothing. And I don't want to start butchering the frame up too much, or it'll be good for nothing, even though I'm going to chop that frame a little bit. So, yeah, the only other choice to me with this is to add a collar on here. 1/4 inch collar would be perfect, I think. You know, otherwise you're cutting these tubes off and moving them and everything. I don't really want to do that. Anyways, we're going to try this reamer tonight, see what happens. You can see right here and here, that's where that frame was hitting into that, where that 45 is there. So, well, that's where the 90 is. I'm going to 45 it. And then space this up a little bit. Hopefully that gives me enough room. I doubt it though, but we'll see. Okay. This is what we're going to use the reamer, just to get that hole down another 1/8 of an inch. But it needs a 1/2 inch chuck. It's meant to go in a lathe. And I don't have a 1/2 inch chuck, nor does Peter. Drill, mine's 3/8. So what I thought we'd do is put this in. This is an old drill bit, and we'll tack a little weld on here, just a couple little tacks, and then we can drill it out. It won't take very much to drill it at all, and then we can grind that off. So that's all I can think of. I'm going to run it past Peter, see if what he thinks. It looks pretty chewed up anyways, this bit, so I don't think he'll mind. Okay, that only took a few minutes. Just a couple little zaps with the drill, and you can see there, I'm just about flush. Well, it is pretty flush. There's the camera right down there. Just buzzed her in a little bit more, not very much. But now you can see here, there's a pointer. Right here I've got a little edge here now. So that'll keep this off the bottom of the frame. Right here. So next thing I'm going to do is just grind that off on that same 45 angle. It's probably going to catch a little bit of that hole there. And I might try to find, recess this in and put a Phillips in there because I think this thing was touching too, or just barely touching. So see if I can find a hardened Phillips tapered screw that I can bevel in there. Just to give you an idea there. You know, something like with a bevel on it like that, where it sits flush. And then I also want to drill a little hole in here for the set screw to go in there and lock it. Oh, I know what I could use. I can use like those little Allen head ones. Oh, what are they called? They're just a set screw, like an Allen head set screw. But I want to put a dimple inside that shaft right in here so it locks it. Okay, so next thing is grind this off. Okay, I ground that off there. Enough for it to try it for now. It could be smoothing out a little bit more in here. It's getting pretty close to this hole though, but that won't matter. Like I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a set screw and punch this shaft a little bit. Might even do that right now. Put a little dimple in there and drill it. I'm gonna try that. Little mark right there. Let's see if I drill just a little dimple so the set screw will kind of lock that in there. Okay, put that on my drill press. There, just recessed a little hole in there. Just to set this in there a little bit, stop from pulling out, because it was pulling out a little bit with the screw in there. That'll stop that, and I'll get a set screw. I'll get Peter to get one. I get Peter to get everything. Works at the machine shop, so they have a whole selection of all those things. So that'll go like that. Up there. Oh, can't see nothing from there, can you? See if I can get it to locate. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of feel it locate right in there. I could actually drill it deeper, but that's pretty good like that. But this is going to hit the frame, so really need that set screw. Yeah, see if Peter can get me a set screw tomorrow. Got some set screws. I'll try this short one first. Oh, I gotta take this one up. Had to drill another hole or indentation in this thing. I screwed up a little bit yesterday. When I put the screw in here, it just pulled it down a little bit. Wasn't quite centered. So I just drilled another one on the other side. This one looks like about a 1/2 inch one. We're going to try this. So by drilling the hole down a little bit, when I pinch the screw in, it actually forces that up a little bit. You kind of do that in woodwork too. When you want a tight joint, you offset it a little bit. So when you put the screw in, it pinches it tighter. Oh, that's perfect. That 1/2 inch one's perfect. Flush. Right there. That's beautiful. With the Allen head one sticking out there, this is what came with this thing. It would be sticking out way too much. Okay, now we'll try to put that back in the frame and see if we gained enough room there. So how am I going to do that? I don't know. Let me think. Okay, we got the bearing here. This thing raised up is going to sit on that bearing face. I could put another shim in there just to give me a little bit more room. Here's a brass shim here. It's probably 50 thou. Gives me quite a bit of room. And still lots of room for the bearing. Get in. Okay, now I forgot what I had in there now. I'm going to put that bearing. I'm going to try this 1/2 inch bearing race in there. Just for a spacer for now. And this goes this way here. I think that's going to be too much. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, so that 1/2 inch bearing is too much. But let's see what kind of movement we got now. We got, gotta watch it, hit that bike over there. Got pretty good movement there now. Now it's just a matter of cutting back these stoppers. I'm going to cut 3/16 off either side, maybe more. Oh, that thing's heavy. So, let's see here. Yeah, that works good. Just my spacer is too big. I don't even think I need a spacer. That's 0.4 of an inch, not quite half an inch. And I'm inside here 3/16. So maybe just a washer. But that's pretty good right there. Maybe I only need to take 1/8 of an inch off either side here. Huh, that's not too bad at all right there. I'll measure the degrees on that. Oh, we're getting closer. Let me just see here for a sec here. Yeah, we're hitting at the stoppers up here. We're at the frame down below, we're 1/8 of an inch away. More than 1/8 of an inch. Perfect. Oh my God. That's gonna work. That's gonna work. But this spacer I put in here is too big. That's 25 thou. Well, we'll try it with just that 25 thou in there. We tried it the max the other way, now we'll try it the minimum. there's a fine line here. This is as far down as this cap can go. So if I put more spacers in, it would pull it up. And then you can see it's not sitting in the shaft here all the way flush. So the only cure to that is two things. Either put more spacers on the bottom, which I don't think I can do because that 1/2 inch bearing, that's all the race I've got left to work with. Or I can cut a bit of the shaft off and tighten it up like that. It'll be a little bit recessed, but I can machine out the risers for that. But the other thing is too, now that I've got this pulled up tight, I didn't have it all the way in. Now it is hitting the frame. It's still turning quite a bit, but it is hitting the frame right there. Before that even hits up there, before the stopper hits. So I could grind out a little bit of the frame on either side, or this piece right here. Could grind out a little bit right here. Or I can think about it some more. But we're getting close. It's a lot better. It's moving freely. I got pretty much all the turn I need. And yeah, I could grind this out a little bit here. And then go with the stops up here. And then just take off a couple threads off of that. Yeah, I'll think about it some more, but we're pretty close. The glue on the side of this cap here. So I cleaned that all out, cleaned the threads up, and now it threaded all the way down. Now it bottoms out. I thought there was like a ridge or a lip in there. It only went like halfway down in that cap. So now it goes down. Now these are that's just a little bit proud there, and everything fits good. I've been thinking more about this angle here before I grind anything, is that when I cut this frame and then bend it out, that I might bend it away enough. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it. Cut the frame here and then heat this up cherry red and then pull it back. I'm still debating how I'm going to bend it, but I think if I do bend this out a little bit, it won't touch here at all. Yep, I think so. But that's for another day. Okay, just got back from Peter's, and oh, he's a good fabricator, real good body man painter, everything else, and he's always got good ideas. The best way to attack this, I thought I'd cut it here, you know, bend the frame back and then re-weld it there. But he's thinking the opposite way. Is to cut the frame here and here, and then cut this frame from the bottom up, but leave about 2 inches at the top, an inch or two at the top here. So cut it from the bottom up, and then I can pull these forks straight out. You know, I got to go about 7-8 degrees out, and then he'll weld this back in, and then we'll heat this. These pipes will be bent out like this. One sec. So now this pipe will be bent out like this a little bit as compared to this one. So then we'll heat these two pipes up and bend it in a little bit. Same with this one here. Bend it in a little bit, and then we'll put a filler piece in there, weld it up. But he says before I even start cutting this is to build a jig out of 2x6, 2x8s down here, some kind of support, clamp the frame all down, clamp the legs on a support here, because these legs here, they might spring a little bit, they might spring forward or back, and we'll clamp them together on the same piece of wood so that we know where they're supposed to be located. And then we just have to heat these ones up to line up with it. So that's going to be the plan of attack. We'll cut this one too, right in here. So it's obviously going to pull out. So that's what I'm going to do the next couple of days. I'll build a jig, get this all bolted down nice and tight, and then I'll hack these off 90s and then splice up here, and then we'll figure out the degrees with my degree ruler. Actually, Peter's got a laser magnetic level to use at the machine shop. I might be able to borrow that. Be a little bit more accurate, I think. And you know, from the stories I've read on these Norton frames and bikes, there's not one that is jigged up properly, not even within 1 degree. You know, if you have a level going straight across here, it should be exactly perpendicular to this one, right at a 90. And the same with the cross frames here. The bolt patterns, if you ran steel rods or lasers through these holes, and you know, they all should be perfectly parallel, and they're not. There's a guy that's got an article there on the internet there. I wish I could remember that guy's name or the article, but he's checked so many frames and not one is within specs. They're all out. You know, this one might be out a degree or 2 this way, this one's a degree this way, or half a degree. And so I'll try to put some rods through here everywhere and get it pretty damn close. And same with that tube when I bend it out. Make sure it stays perfectly 90 to the frame. Okay, that's it for tonight. That's all I can do. I'm going to work on that jig this week and get that cut up.